Hi guys, hope you're all good. This is a quick Hatha flow, so it's only going to be about half an hour for those of you who struggle to fit in a longer class, or if you can't quite manage to hold your attention without the teacher looking over you. So we're going to get started straight away, so coming into a tabletop position with the hands or the wrists underneath the shoulders. Knees hip width distance apart, spreading the fingertips nice and wide, and we'll just make our way through a few rounds of cat-cow to warm up the spine. So as you inhale, starting to drop the belly towards the mat, reaching the sitting bones high. Press the chest through the arms, take the gaze towards the ceiling. See if you can wrap the triceps back and the biceps forward, so the elbow creases start to point forwards. Then as you exhale, tuck the tailbone. Draw navel up towards spine, chin towards chest, really press into the hands, round through the shoulders, spread the shoulder blades nice and wide. And then inhale, drop the belly, take the gaze up, reach the chest through the arms. And exhaling, rounding through the shoulders. So continuing just for a few more rounds using your own breath. And if you want to bring a little bit more fluidity into this, next time you inhale, bringing the bum towards the heels, taking the gaze up, and then as you exhale, rounding forwards, pouring the weight all the way into the fingertips. Inhaling, dropping the bum, gazing up. Exhaling, rounding forwards. So again, you can continue in this way, or if you want to bring even more movement into this, maybe coming into some circles, working into the hips, pouring the weight into the fingertips, and just finding free movement, whatever feels good for your body. And then on the next inhale, coming back to a neutral spine. From here, tucking the toes. Press into the toes, start to hover the knees away from the mat, and then reach the sitting bones high. Lengthen through the backs of the legs. Maybe straighten out the legs or keep a bend into the knees if you need it, coming into your downward facing dog. And again, just free movement in this position. So maybe pedaling through the feet, swaying through the hips. Shake out the head and the neck if it feels good for you. And then when you're ready, coming to some stillness and finding your position in your downward facing dog. So feet are hip width distance apart, hands shoulder width apart, pressing forwards and down into the hands. See if you can work the chest back towards the tops of the thighs. And as you press forwards and down into the hands, you'll notice that the shoulders start to draw away from the ears slightly. Drawing the lower belly in towards the spine. Keep reaching the sitting bones high. Engaging into the inner thighs. And lengthening the backs of the feet away from you. Pressing into the thumb and the first finger and the joint in between, rather than pouring all of the weight into the little finger side of the hand. And then when you're ready on the next inhale, coming high onto the tiptoes, start to walk both feet all the way up to the top of the mat. When you arrive, take a nice deep bend into the knees, grab opposite elbows, allow the head and the neck to hang heavy, maybe sway from side to side into the hips, coming into ragdoll, shaking out the head, yes and no. You might like to take a cleansing breath here, inhaling into the belly, exhaling through the mouth. And then maybe finding some more length down the backs of the legs, bringing the weight into the toes and dropping the crown of the head towards the floor. On the next exhale, releasing that grip on the elbows, start to roll all the way up through the spine. Coming to stand at the top of your mat, inhaling the arms up and over the head, and then bring the hands into Kali Mudra, pistol grip. You can bring the big toes to touch here, heels slightly apart. As you inhale, reach up through the fingertips, and then as you exhale, start to take the hips over to the left as you reach the hands up and over the head to the right. Maybe taking the gaze towards the ceiling, keep rooting down through the big toes. And then inhale back to center, reaching through the fingertips, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and then exhaling over to the other side. So hips press over to the right, reach the fingertips up and over the head to the left. Keep the chest open. Inhale back up to center, and exhale to release the hands. So if you're not there already, coming to the top of your mat, big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Coming to Tadasana, so finding some stability and strength in your standing position here. Rooting down through the feet, engaging into the inner thighs, so squeezing them towards each other, drawing navel towards spine, maybe tucking the tailbone under slightly. Finding some openness through the chest, palms facing forwards. Reaching up through the crown of the head, and allowing the shoulders to soften away from the ears. On the next inhale, reaching the hands up and over the head, gazing up to the thumbs, gentle back bend. And then as you exhale, folding forwards over the hips. So reaching the chest as far forwards as you can, and then beginning to fold in. Taking a bend into the knees if you need to. Inhaling, halfway lift, so reach the crown of the head forwards, fingertips stay on the mat. Hands to the shins or the thighs, wherever you are, looking for that length through the spine. As you exhale, picking up the left foot, stepping it all the way back behind you, and then lowering down onto the left knee, keeping the toes tucked. As you inhale, lifting the chest, bringing the hands to the top of that right thigh, and then as you exhale, maybe sinking a little bit deeper into the hips. So making sure that as you come lower into the hips, the upper body moves up and back slightly, so that we're not dumping all of the weight into this right leg and ankle. From here, if you want more, inhaling the arms up, bringing them into Kali Mudra, pistol grip. And then again, as you exhale, sinking deeper into the hips, maybe you can start to work the hands back behind you, puffing up the chest slightly, gazing up. And then exhaling, releasing, bringing the hands either side of that right foot. Press into the toes on the left foot, step the right foot back to your downward facing dog. On the next inhale, waving forwards to a high plank. So shoulders come over the wrists, tucking the tailbone, but again seeing if you can press into the hands here and round through the shoulders, engaging into your core, navel towards spine. And then as you exhale, drop the knees to the mat. Start to bring the weight forwards into the fingertips, tilt the sitting bones up towards the ceiling, lower the belly, and then start to lower, squeezing the elbows into the sides of the body. Chest and chin come towards the mat, Ashtanga Namaskar, keep squeezing the elbows in. You can stop here, keeping the hands and the toes on the mat, or if you want more, draw the heels in towards the bum, point through the toes, and then maybe reach the hands back behind you. Really nice. Bring the hands back to the mat, lower the toes, press into the hands, slither yourself through onto your belly, untuck the toes, and then option here either to lift into baby cobra, hovering the hands away from the mat, lifting the chest, or you can press into the hands and come up a little bit higher into cobra. Either straightening out the arms or again keeping a little bend into the elbows. Be really mindful of your lower back, noticing any pinching sensations, backing away if you find any. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears, pressing the pubic bone down into the floor, and gentle engagement into the glutes. And then exhale, bring the chest to the mat. Tuck the toes. When you're ready, we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So you can either come through tabletop or straight back. Pressing into the toes, make sure you engage into the lower belly, press into the hands, and then take it back. On the next inhale, picking up the right foot, sweeping it high, three-legged dog. Keep the hips square, so try not to hinge open. Toes pointing towards the mat, pressing forwards and down into the hands. Working that chest back towards the top of the left thigh. And then come high onto the tiptoes on the left foot, bend into the right knee. When you're ready, step or drag the right foot to the top of the mat. We're going to lift into a high lunge, so rooting down through the feet. As you inhale, sweeping the arms up, and then finding your balance here. So if you feel a little bit wobbly, maybe bringing more weight into the left foot so that the weight is even between the feet. Gazing up if it's okay for you. And then as you exhale, coming forwards with the chest, plant the fingertips either side of that right foot. Straighten out the right leg slightly and then hop or step left foot up to the top of the mat. Inhale to your halfway lift, reach the crown of the head forwards. Exhale, fold over the hips. On the next inhale, press into the feet, sweep the hands up and over the head, gaze up to the thumbs, and then exhale the hands to the heart. Other side, inhale, lifting up, gentle back bend. Exhaling, folding forwards over the hips. Inhale to your halfway lift, reach the crown of the head forwards, draw the shoulders back. And then as you exhale, pick up the right foot this time, step it all the way back behind you and lower down onto the right knee. As you inhale, lift the chest, bring the hands to the top of that left thigh. And then as you exhale, sink a little bit deeper into the hips, making sure the upper body is coming up and back slightly. So we're not dumping all of our weight into this left ankle and knee. If you want more, inhaling the arms up into Kali Mudra, pistol grip. Maybe drawing the arms back as you exhale, sinking deeper into the hips. Exhale to release, bring the hands either side of that left foot, press into the toes on the right foot, and when you're ready, step that left foot back to your downward facing dog. On the next inhale, waving forwards to your high plank, shoulders over the wrists, tucking the tailbone, but pressing into the hands, rounding through the shoulders. High onto the tiptoes, engaging into the core, wrapping the triceps back, biceps forwards. As you exhale, lower onto the knees. Bring the weight forwards into the fingertips. Start to tilt the sitting bones towards the ceiling, and then squeeze the elbows into the sides of the body as you lower the chest and the chin to the mat. Again, you can stay here, or if you feel comfortable to do so, drawing the heels towards the bum, pointing through the toes. Reach the hands back behind you, and then release. Press into the hands, slither yourself through onto your belly, and then lift into your version of a back bend. So coming only as high as feels okay for your body. If you can, seeing if you can point the elbow creases forwards, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and then exhaling, lowering the chest to the mat. Tucking the toes when you're ready, either coming straight back to downward facing dog or through tabletop. If you're coming straight back, press into the toes, engage the core, and then press the hands into the mat, lifting to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Taking a cleansing breath here if you need it, inhaling into the belly, exhaling through the mouth. On the next inhale, picking up the left foot, coming into three-legged dog, sweeping that left foot high, but making sure toes are pointing towards the mat, so try not to open straight out. And then come high onto the tiptoes on the right foot, bend into that left knee, step or drag Left foot up to the top of the mat. Root down through both feet. Make sure you feel stable. When you're ready, inhale the arms up into your crescent lunge. So nice deep bend into that left knee, keeping the hips square, reaching the fingertips towards the ceiling, softening the shoulders away from the ears, maybe gazing up. And then as you exhale, come forwards with the fingertips, straighten out that left leg, and then step or hop right foot up to the top of the mat. Inhale to your halfway lift, reach the crown of the head forwards. Exhale, fold over the hips. On the next inhale, press into the feet, sweep the hands up and over the head, gaze up to the thumbs, and exhale the hands to the heart. Really nice. From here, we're going to make our way into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. So keeping the hands at heart center, start to bring the weight into the left foot. And then when you feel stable, draw the right knee up towards the chest. As you exhale, start to hinge the chest forwards, reach that right foot back behind you, straighten out the leg, drop into the right hip slightly so we're keeping the lower back level if you can. Flexing through the toes or pointing through the toes. So with the toes flexed, it's going to help you to keep the hips level a bit more. If you're comfortable with this one, you can point through the toes. And then when you're ready, micro bending into that left knee, slowly lowering the right toes to the mat behind you. When you arrive in this position, inhaling the arms up, back into your crescent lunge, palms together this time, gazing towards the thumbs. On the next inhale, start to straighten out that left leg, spin the right foot so it's in line with the back of the mat, and then open out into your Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So deep bend into the left knee, arms come out shoulder height. Make sure the torso is right in the middle of the hips so we're not leaning forwards or backwards. Gazing over the middle finger of the left hand, maybe sinking a little bit deeper into that left knee. On the next inhale, flip that left palm over, and as you exhale, take it up and over the head. Right hand comes anywhere down the right leg, reversing your warrior. See if you can spiral the chest up towards the ceiling, gazing up or towards the right big toe. Inhaling back up to your Warrior 2. And then from here, start to bring that left hand forwards and then lower the left forearm to the top of that left thigh. Take a big sweeping circle with this right arm and then bring the hand to point towards the top of the room. So this right upper arm is coming right in towards the right ear. That's a lot of rights. If that's too much for your shoulder, then you can bend into the right elbow. Make sure you're not dumping loads of weight down into this left arm. We want to use the side core as much as possible. So if you want to challenge yourself a bit more, you might reach that left hand out in front. On the next inhale, lifting back up to your Warrior 2. Bring the hands to the hips. Start to straighten out that left leg and then spin the toes in. So coming into Prasarita, Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. So toes turn in, heels turn out here. Bring the hands to the hips, squeeze the elbows towards each other, and as you inhale, start to puff up the chest. Take the gaze towards the ceiling, and then exhale, start to hinge forwards over the hips. So we're reaching the hips back behind as we send the chest and the crown of the head forwards, and then begin to drop in. Planting the hands on the mat, or if you've got a block and you can't quite reach, you can use your block here. If the hands are comfortably down on the floor, then we're pressing into the hands, squeezing the elbows in towards each other, so starting to contain through the chest, lowering the crown of the head towards the floor, maybe bringing more weight into the toes rather than the heels so you can find more length down the backs of the legs. Tucking the chin towards the chest, and if it's okay for you, gazing in between the legs towards the ceiling. On the next inhale, coming to a halfway lift, reach the crown of the head forwards. From here, spin the heels in and the toes out. They can be at a little diagonal or all the way out, so the toes point to the short edges of the mat. When you feel comfortable, press into the feet, lift up halfway, so hands come to the tops of the thighs. And then we're going to take a little twist here, so inhaling into the belly. As you exhale, start to press that left thigh away with the left hand and take the left shoulder over towards the right knee. Maybe gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale back to center and then exhale to the other side. So right knee towards left knee, right shoulder towards left knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. One more, inhale back to center. Exhale, twisting to the left. Inhale back to center. Come forward to plant the fingertips on the mat in front of you. Straighten out the legs. Spin the toes in and the heels out. And then lift the chest. Begin to crawl the fingertips towards the top of the mat. Spin both feet so they're pointing forwards. Coming into runner's lunge, so deep bend into the left knee, up onto the toes on the right foot. Right leg is nice and strong here, so press into the toes, keep it active. Keep reaching the chest forwards in front of you. From here, we're going to step back to high plank, so planting the hands. And then when you're ready, sweep that left foot back, high plank. Either dropping onto the knees or lowering through chaturanga. Squeezing the elbows into the sides of the body. Inhaling to your upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhaling over the toes, downward facing dog. On the next inhale, coming high onto the tiptoes, start to walk both feet all the way up to the top. Deep bend into the knees. From here, coming into a twist. So again, if you need your block here, just grabbing it quickly and placing the block in front of the face. So you can rest the left hand on the block, or if it's available, left hand comes to the floor. Straightening out the right leg, bending into the left knee. When you're ready, start to twist to the right, point the right elbow up towards the ceiling. And then begin to unravel the arm, reaching the right fingertips high. So if this is enough for you, you can stay here. If you want to get deeper into your twist, bring the back of the right hand to the lower back, or all the way around to the left hip crease. If you want more, again, option to come into a bind. So we're threading this left hand in between the legs, bringing that left arm behind the back of the left knee, and then looking for the right hand. Peeling that right shoulder back, gazing up towards the ceiling, twisting yourself deeper. And then exhaling to release. Coming to the other side, so right hand to the block or the mat. Straightening out the left leg, bending into the right knee. Point the left elbow towards the ceiling first and then unravel, reaching the left hand high. Maybe bring the back of that left hand to the lower back or all the way around to the right hip crease. Again, if you want to find that bind, right hand threads in between the legs. And then we're looking for that left hand with the right hand. Taking your bind, maybe gazing towards the ceiling. Twisting yourself deeper, peeling that left shoulder back. Exhaling to release. Take a bend into the knees, allow the crown of the head to fall towards the floor. And then on the next inhale, begin to roll all the way up through the spine, so bring the weight towards the heels. And lifting all the way up. When you arrive, coming into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3 on the other side. So this time bringing the weight into the right foot, root down, make sure you've got a good foundation. So spread into the toes, spread into that front part of the foot. Come up onto the tiptoes on the left, and then when you're ready, start to draw that left knee up. Hands come together at the heart. As you exhale, start to hinge forwards with the chest as you take that left foot back behind you. So again, you can flex the toes here if it helps you to keep the hips level, or point through the toes, taking a little lift through the chest. When you're ready, micro bend into that right knee, slowly start to lower left toes to the mat behind you, and then inhale the arms up into your crescent lunge, palms together, gazing towards the thumbs. Make sure you've got a nice deep bend into that right knee. And then on the next inhale, start to straighten out that right leg, and then spin the left foot so it's in line with the back of the mat, opening out into your warrior two. Flip round to the other side. So right heel's in line with the inside arch of that left foot, opening out the arms, shoulder height, gazing over the middle finger of the right hand. Make sure you can see the toes poking out in front of that right knee, and see if you can keep opening out the hips. So press into the big toe side of the right foot, hinging the hip open. On the next inhale, flip that right palm over. As you exhale, take it up and over the head. Left hand comes anywhere down the left leg, gazing towards the left big toe, or maybe gazing towards the ceiling, spiraling the chest open more. Inhale, press into the feet, lift yourself back up. From here, begin to reach forwards with that right hand, and then lower the right forearm to the top of the right thigh. Take a big sweeping circle with that left arm, taking the left hand up and over the head. So we're looking for a nice straight line all the way from the outside edge of that left foot to the fingertips on the left hand. If it's too much, bend into the elbow, and then seeing if you can use your side core, so maybe reaching that right hand out in front. Really nice. Inhaling back up to your warrior two. And then from here, start to straighten out the right leg. Spin the toes in, heels out, back into Prasarita, Padottanasana. So this time you can keep the hands on the hips as before, or you can bring the palms behind the back to clasp. So bend into the elbows first, squeeze the palms together, then start to straighten out the arms, puff up the chest, and as you exhale, hinge forwards. Send the hips back as you reach the chest forwards, and then begin to fold in. Dropping the crown of the head towards the mat, tucking the chin towards the chest. Inhaling to a halfway lift, reach the crown of the head forwards, release the hands, bring the fingertips to the mat in front of you, and then again spin the heels in and the toes out, coming into goddess pose. So deep bend into the knees, see if you can get the knees to track the feet and the ankles, and then when you feel steady, press into the feet, lift the chest, cactus the arms, so bend into the elbows, see if you can tuck the tailbone under, so pelvis starts to hinge forward slightly so the bum doesn't stick out. You can stay here if you want more, coming up onto the tiptoes on the right foot, and then lowering, left foot, lowering, and then maybe coming up onto both feet. Keeping the breath flowing, and then exhaling to release. Straighten out the legs, bring the hands to the hips, spin the toes in, heels out, inhale, puff up the chest, exhale, hinge forwards, folding back in, releasing the fingertips to the mat, inhaling to a halfway lift, and then beginning to crawl the fingertips towards the top of the mat, so spinning both feet so that the toes are pointing towards the top, coming back into your runner's lunge. Deep bend into that right knee, sending the chest forwards, activating all of the muscles in that left leg. When you're ready, plant the hands. We're going to step back to high plank. So stepping that right foot back, tucking the tailbone, pressing into the hands round through the shoulders, navel towards spine. When you're ready, lowering through chaturanga or dropping to the knees. Inhaling, cobra or upward facing dog. And And then exhaling over the toes, downward facing dog. Taking an inhale into the belly, exhale through the mouth. When you're ready, dropping down onto the knees. Bring the big toes to touch, take the knees out wide, send the bum towards the heels, coming into child's pose, reaching the hands out in front, forehead to the mat. Deep breathing into the belly, slowing the breath if you've noticed that it started to quicken. Keep pressing forwards and down into the hands, using that pressure to send the bum further back towards the heels. And then on the next inhale, lifting the forehead, walk the hands back towards the knees. Gently roll onto one hip. Take the legs out in front, finishing with a spinal twist. So shuffling yourself into the middle of the mat, planting the feet on the floor, reach the arms out in front, and slowly start to roll all the way down to the mat. When you arrive, draw the knees in towards the chest, give yourself a nice big squeeze, grab around the shins, and maybe rock gently from side to side on the lower back. Or start to make some circles, massaging out the whole of the spine, taking those circles in the other direction. And then when you're ready, arms come out wide. Inhale into the belly. And as you exhale, take both knees over to the right. You can bring the right hand to the outside edge of that left leg or left knee. And gaze can be towards the ceiling or over the left shoulder. And then we're just seeing if we can soften that left shoulder towards the floor as you exhale. On the next inhale, drawing the knees back to center. And then as you exhale, taking them over to the left. Again, gazing towards the ceiling or over the right shoulder. Left hand can come to the outside edge of the right leg if you want to encourage the knees further down towards the mat. Inhaling the knees back to center. Giving yourself another squeeze. Maybe coming to a tight ball, forehead to knees. And then as you exhale, releasing, coming into Shavasana just for a couple of minutes. Taking the feet as wide as the mat, hands and arms away from the sides of the body. Tucking the chin towards the chest slightly so that you can find some length down the back of the neck. Closing down the eyes. And again, just finding your breath here. So you might find it helpful to choose one point in the body that you can feel the breath moving most noticeably. So that might be the belly rising and falling, chest and ribs expanding and contracting, or noticing the breath at the very tip of your nose. Feeling the fluttering sensation as the breath moves in and out of the nostrils. So just staying with the breath and sensations in the body. Maybe tuning into any leftover tingling or buzzing. Pulsing, sense of warmth, Just taking this short amount of time to be here with the body and the breath. Nothing else to achieve, nothing else to do. Just being here now. And now when you're ready, taking 2 more deep conscious breaths into the belly. Preparing to bring your awareness back to the room. Bringing small movements back to the body, wiggling the fingers and the tips of the toes. Making circles through the wrists and the ankles. And then coming into a full body stretch, so drawing the feet together, reaching the hands up and over the head. Pointing through the toes, reaching through the fingers, drawing one nice deep breath into the belly, inhaling. Holding the breath at the top. And then as you exhale, sighing it out through the mouth. Bending into the knees, drawing the knees in towards the chest. Giving yourself a squeeze. And then making your way up to a comfortable seat in your own time. Bring the hands together at the heart when you arrive. Just taking a moment to check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling. Any calm that you've created. And sending yourself some gratitude for making the time to practice today. Bowing the forehead towards the tips of the fingers. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely rest of the day. Namaste.